Hello there, and welcome to the live stream of today, the second one actually, because this morning we had a different one with French wine related to that. I am Pim, and I will be moderating this live stream today, and we will be joined by host Ur from Istanbul, who will do a walk around the Grand Bazaar. But before we start with that, I have some things to mention to you. If you have any questions to either me or Ur, which will be the host of today, please feel free to post them in the chat, and I will make sure that he will get the questions as well, and hopefully answer them for you. Aside from that, I would like to point out that it is possible to leave your email in the subscribe box down below if you are watching on withlocals.tv, and if you are watching on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, also feel free to hit the like, subscribe, or follow buttons. If you want to see what's coming up, you can also go to withlocals.tv. But right now on the screen, you can see what the schedule is for today. So as I mentioned, this morning we had the French wine live stream. Today we'll be walking around in the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul with host Uğur. And tonight at 8 p.m. CET, we will do a single malt Scotch whiskey tasting together with host Neil straight from Edinburgh. And the last part before I will introduce the host of today is that it is possible to support your local by donating, and that's possible by hitting the pink donate button below on withlocals.tv, or there is a link in the description that goes to withlocals.live, and from there on you can also donate. But let's not waste more time with these formalities. Uğur, how are you doing in Istanbul?
Hello, man. Doing well here in Istanbul. Things are finally turning back to normal, so we are getting a little bit more optimistic.
That's good to hear.
About the near future. Sorry about the little noise from the helicopter.
That will go away, hopefully.
Yeah, all right, it's good.
So,
all right, so here I'm standing outside of the Grand Bazaar that will be touring for the next hour. Let me... All right.
You're standing straight in front of the opening to the Grand Bazaar.
Yes, this is the main portal, but there are more of them around. There are all around about 21 of them in total. You can go in and out from to the Grand Bazaar. But this is the main one where most tourists and most of the locals going from. Gate number 1.
Okay, let's, I think, go in there then, right?
Excuse me?
Let's go, let's enter the Grand Bazaar.
Yes, let's do.
Nice entrance, by the way.
Procedures added for the coronavirus. We will get our temperature checked as we go in. Yes, mask. All right, and the face masks actually are required to be worn in the city everywhere, indoors and outdoors. But you will notice not every shopkeeper is keen on that.
And why are they not keen on wearing the face masks?
Well, they have to be wearing it for quite a few hours in a day, all day, and it gets them quite sweaty, you know.
Okay, yeah, indeed, that's understandable.
So we just stepped in to the one of the oldest and largest covered markets in the world, the Grand Bazaar. Officially dating from 1461, a few years after the conquest of the city by the Turks. There was a marketplace here in the Byzantine period as well, but as an open-air market. Ever since the 15th century, though, it's been a covered market over here. The section I'm pointing to right now is the second oldest part of it. It wasn't all built at once. More and more additions made to it in the following centuries. It kept growing and growing. This section is the second oldest. I will take you through the oldest section as well later on. This section was recently renovated and turned into a steakhouse, actually. Quite well known abroad, internationally as well, by the name Salt Bay. I don't know if you are familiar with that guy. He went viral online with his signature hand gesture of the salt sprinkling over the meat. So you can also try that in the Grand Bazaar. Now back to the main avenue. Over here is the largest actually of the streets in the bazaar out of the total 63. And this main avenue is mainly full of the jewelry shops. Nowadays, with more and more tourism, is changing a little bit with the spice shops and other crafts opening up as well. But traditionally known for the jewelers, and the locals still frequent the place. In fact, at the moment, anyone you see around me are locals. Uh, Even though we are open for tourism at the moment, of course, things will take a little time and will come out slowly. So mostly frequented by the locals at the time. And being the summer season, it's the wedding season, of course. So which involves a lot of gold and jewelry purchasing. Much like the Indian culture as well, the Turks are very fond of their jewelry and gold. That's the most common present to take to a wedding party. I will show you what to take if you ever attend to a Turkish wedding in a little bit.
Quick question from my side, Ur. It's not really busy in there right now, is it?
Now, some alleys, especially like this one, is pretty quiet. Some of the roads, especially where the jewelry shops are a little bit busier, but overall it's pretty busy, quiet. In fact, some of the shop owners decided open yet. On one of the side alleys, at the two Turkish shops, were specializing in the silks and the scarves. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I think we are dropping a bit, Ur. I'm not sure if you're still there, but also for the viewers at home, it might be possible that we sometimes lose connection a bit with Ur. I now see that we actually lost connection. That's also because he's in the big Grand Bazaar. When he was outside, the connection is really good, but inside there's a lot of walls, and then the reception might be less good as that we would like to have. I see a lot of people actually tuning in. I see our ONN is also back. Sabasa, Caroline, thank you for joining all. Sierra as well. Merhaba. I'm not sure. Maybe you can translate it for me in the meantime when we try to get back to Ur. I think it means something like hello, but I'm not sure at all. Sabasa mentions Nusret. I think that's for the Salt Bay, the statue that we saw. That also went viral with all the soccer players. He's a real soccer fan, from what I know, at least if I follow the correct one on Instagram. Also, for all the viewers at home, if you have any questions related to Uhur, I will make sure to ask them when we get him back on the stream. In the meantime, I'd really like to know from where you all are watching right now. I mean, we are in the Eindhoven office of with locals here. Ur is in Istanbul, of course, in the Grand Bazaar. But where are you from? I mean, it's also nice for Ur to know when we get back. Maybe he has some stories or tips for specific people from different countries. I see that we have Michaela mentioning I went to the Grand Bazaar once and so bad at negotiating. So I think we can also get maybe some tips from Uhur again. And I also see that we have Uhur back in the Grand Bazaar. Welcome back, Uhur.
All right. Thank you. As you mentioned, the reception might be a little weak in some parts of the bazaar. We can run into some technical problems, but I will try to reconnect as quickly as possible.
That's perfect. Let's see. In the meantime, Uhur,
so
we got
one guy you will come across a lot in there, a tea guy. Excuse.
I'm not sure if I think there's a bit of delay in between what I'm trying to say to you. and I think we almost lost connection again. Sorry for the inconvenience about this, but it's the main annoyance with walking in the Grand Bazaar. There's no reception for nearly anyone in there. Um, let's see what you all have to say. So we see watching from Leende, the Netherlands. ONN mentions if I ever go to Istanbul for the second time, the Grand Bazaar would be in my revisiting list. I think that's really nice, and I hope to show you some more about the Grand Bazaar. I think that we are almost ready to jump back in for a second. Still waiting for the technical people to see if we have a connection. In the meantime, feel free to leave a like or a follow or subscribe or leave your email in the box down below. Because later today we will have one more single malt Scotch whiskey tour tasting together with Neil. Let's see. We have another viewer tuning in. Whom John? Hi, it's John here with Locals London tour guide. So for maybe you can look him up on the With Locals website. You can go to withlocals.com and find all the hosts that are featured in the live streams mainly. Let's see. I think we have a visual back from Uhur. Can you hear me, Uhur? And I don't think we can hear him again. Let's wait and see if we can get in contact with him. That maybe Uhur can move somewhere with a better reception and then maybe answer your questions later. Let's see. Michaela mentions, oh yes, the apple tea was definitely a highlight for me too. That was a response to Sabasa, who mentioned, I remember my first visit with my parents when I was a kid and drinking apple tea at almost every shop stall. Also, there are so many crystal and leather shops. I'm wondering, like, if anyone has been to a Grand Bazaar or a different kind of bazaar, and what their experiences were there. We already had Michaela mentioning about negotiating. How was your experience with this? Did you try to do it? Were you afraid to negotiate a bit? I mean, I know that when I went to Turkey, it felt really unnatural to do it, but it is the preferred way for people to negotiate there. I mean, it's more of a they think it's strange if you don't negotiate. So, what are your experiences with negotiating in Turkey or maybe a different country as well? Let's see what John says. Thanks, looking forward to it too. I think that's for the Grand Bazaar live stream indeed for this one. I see that the technical people here are really trying to get Uhur back into the live stream, so let's wait a bit longer for that. What is it that you would like to see from Uhur when we get back to him? We're not sure if we can make it to go into the Grand Bazaar still, but maybe if he's outside, he can maybe answer your questions, like which kind of shops are visited the most, or what's the I must see that once you're in the Grand Bazaar that you go there. What maybe the status of the pandemic is over there. I mean, he mentioned in the beginning that shops were opening up a bit. So let's see if we can get those questions in. So if you have any questions, please let us know. Also, feel free to tune in tonight at 8 p.m. Where we will do the single malt Scotch whiskey tasting, which you can see here on the screen now. The schedule for today. It's going to be a really nice live stream with Neil, who will tell you all about single malt Scotch whiskey, and we also have some surprise for you there because we have some whiskey here as well, which we hope that Neil can also give you a good story about. In the meantime, I see some comments coming in regarding the negotiation. Sierra mentions it's a hassle to bargain at the Grand Bazaar. Best thing you can do is go to a with locals guide. I think that's a really good good advice. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they will give you some tips on how to negotiate. Goda has a question. When negotiating in Grand Bazaar, what price should we aim for? 50 to 80%? Or is there a rule? Maybe if there's any people from Turkey tuning in or who have experience with this, maybe you can also answer the question, because I personally don't know. But it might be good to learn from each other as well in this case. ONN mentions, what is a must to buy in the Grand Bazaar? Last time I went to a bazaar, and not the Grand Bazaar then, there was a lot of things that you can buy. So I'm not sure what is a must buy, but yeah, maybe we can. I think for everyone, there's something to find within a bazaar. Let's see. Lots mentions a question about the Hagia Sophia. If tourists still go there now, will it be turned into a mosque? Once again, boss, let's wait until Uhur joins back in and see if we can get him to answer the question. In the meantime, I'm also wondering, we have a schedule up at withlocals.tv where you can see the upcoming live streams for this week. So here on the screen again, you see the live streams for today. But I'm wondering, what kind of live streams would you want to see? Are there any major things that you would like to see, like maybe something within the Netherlands or a different country? Please let us know, and maybe we can see if we have a With Locals host over there who can give you a short tour about this. Let's see. I think Sierra gives you an answer, ONN, about what to buy in the Grand Bazaar. Who mentions the lamps are amazing at the Grand Bazaar, and maybe some olive oil soaps. So, ONN, if you're ever in a Grand Bazaar, you can maybe tune back in there. I see that we have a connection back with Uhur. We have a short visual, I see. Yes, we can hear you a bit indeed. Can you hear me?
It
Uhur?
only, well, that will do.
Yes? Can you hear me?
All right. Are we back on?
Yes, we are. You are back
All
on,
right.
on
Yes,
screen
I just
indeed.
stepped
So
up.
I see some people outside. I see that you're also.
Yes, we'll step back in and see
Yeah,
how that goes.
sure thing, sure thing.
All right, let's do that. This time we are stepping in from a different gate. That's the center of the money exchangers. It's done in the latest technology way. Right across over there is one shop only trading cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin and such. Also done in the oldest fashioned way. I will show you a couple of alleys full of men over here, standing around with quite a few cell phones in their hands and yelling out things, which are numbers. They are yelling out over here. These guys are not minding the social distancing rules, as you can see. They sit over here or stand all day long and exchange currency or gold over the phone every second, buying and selling and making money on the spread. And it's all based on trust, still the same way as it was done hundreds of years ago. At the end of the day, the hard currency or the gold gets exchanged between these guys.
They're all working sort of not together, but they're like working from their cell phones right there.
As for themselves in corporation, this is the center for the large money. This is where you get the best rates. I will show you some of the. Now, I will show you one shop over here that's quite unique, the bazaar, which is the smallest shop.
Smallest
This
shop
nice
in the bazaar.
gentleman over here, let me just say, team suddenly. All right, this nice gentleman out of this window is a watch repairman. As you can see, his tools and everything, and his shop is only his seat, pretty much. This whole front section steps in there and it's done, he tiniest shop in the whole Grand Bazaar.
That's a really
Highly
tiny shop
there,
indeed.
uncle, I guess. It is, for sure. All right. I had about the gift to take this all in this display over here. You find in some of these are nothing but gold coins, and real gold, of course, 22 carats. Come in very size of coins, or you take $1, and they all have a little loop at the end, which you attach through with the safety pin to the wedding gown of the bride. So by the end of the evening, the whole wedding will be a wedding party. All right. For example, here's a sign listing all the exchange rates for US dollars, euros, and such. Almost no difference. A very slight difference in buying and selling.
That's also a question, Uhur. I hope you can hear me. Michaela
No, we
asks,
are.
what's the price approximately for a gram of gold in the Grand Bazaar?
Now, the ounce price is no different than the international market, and that goes for those gold coins as well. So you are just buying it by the weight, pretty much, by the ounce price of the gold that they in the international market. And it's no different than what it is in Europe or elsewhere. Whereas in jewelry, that all differs, of course, because with labor involved, it affects the overall cost. Is why most people, the tourists, like buy here, because the cost of labor being cheaper, the end product is cheaper than what you will pay for in Europe. But if you are just buying those gold coins, you will pay currency. Again, you sell it back at the ounce price of gold that day. That's why people take it as a gift to the marrying couple, so that they don't lose money exchanging it back. Now, this section with the sign saying Antique Market Old Bazaar is actually the oldest part of the bazaar. It started off as a small square of shops that we'll be walking around in now. Then the additions were made surrounding it in later centuries. Let's step in.
Yes, let's do that. In the meantime, Michaela.
Back in the Ottoman times, this was more like a.
And I see John
Right.
quickly asking
Sure
a
is.
question. I see you're known as the friendly foodie. What are appetites, and could you show us some food if you can?
For sure, we'll be passing by some of the restaurants and food stalls in the bazaar as well. Those are a little bit harder to find. On the outside of it, there are more restaurants surrounding the place. Inside, of course, with the rental price of these shops being quite high, you don't find too many. But in these side alleys, you definitely get some real gems for food as well. Now, what you are looking at over here on the screen are some prayer beads, just like the Catholic rosaries. These are used by the Muslims as well to perform their prayers, but also a very popular and common accessory for men, especially the smaller ones. You will just men playing with them in their hands. Well, one shocking scene is a group of tourists I'm seeing. I'm not sure where they're from, but that's a good sign. That's the first that I'm seeing. So if they made it here, why not you guys? Everyone can make it.
That's a good tip indeed.
All right. Other than these prayer beach shops, it's this older section is also full of the antique dealers as well. So let's see what we can find. Some old cigarette boxes, tobacco boxes, old Turkish coffee cups over here. Some very old watches of all these famous international brands. And in the bazaar, you can get the real deal of everything, like these watches and such, or the jewelry, or the fake, the imitations of everything as well. The imitation Rolexes, imitation Gucci's, and all. So the purses you are looking at are all the imitation stuff, which is
How
not
can you tell
legal,
that they
of
are
course, but
imitations,
it goes
Ugur?
on. Excuse me?
How can you tell that they are imitations?
Well, they don't pretend that it's original. When the shop owner is selling it, they tell you it's the imitation. There's no denying of it. People buy it
Okay.
and sell it, knowing that it's the fake stuff. It's such a good quality that people specifically come here for that purpose.
Okay, that's good to know.
This is one of the oldest tenants in the bazaar and one of the most famous as well, Mr. Nick. He is famous for a certain craft he performs. Let me show you what he does. It's quite unique. He's the one and only guy. He created this art form where he paints very delicately all these symbols, writings, and designs of all three different religions, actually all big religions, including Buddhism, on these very dried leaves of different bahia that come from Florida.
I think we are breaking up a bit again, and we lost Ugur again. I can only agree with you, ONN. That's a really nice art shop. I see that you're also making noodles, so enjoy and bon appetit. We're going to quickly try and see if we can get if we can get Ugur back again. In the meantime, let's see if there are any more comments. ONN really likes the Athens with Locals tour live stream. Maybe we can arrange that one. I will pass that on to the team behind, well, in front of me actually. Let's see. What else would people want to see from the With Locals live streams? Is there anything that you're really excited about, or that you want to know about? Maybe even like you can send us maybe an email if you have a really good idea that people want to do a live stream, and we can see if we can maybe work something out with that. In the meantime, we are still trying to get Ugur back into the live stream. Let's see. Once again, for tonight we have the single malt Scotch whiskey tasting. I think I hear Ugur, by the way, coming back a bit. But let's wait until we can actually confirm that. Yes, I can hear you, and I think we can also see
Hear
you
me, Ben?
again. Uh,
Perfect.
yes, I can hear
All right.
you.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So let's keep walking through the bazaar then. As I step into shops, I guess the connection is not very clear, so I will try to stay on the outside and through the streets.
That's fine.
All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. So one of our friends were asking about the food in the bazaar. Let's go to one corner where it's full of these doner shops, which is world famous and popular, of course. But there's one difference for these guys. By the way, you can find your country's flag in between all these.
See, I'm still hearing something, but I think we are about to lose connection again. Yes, there we go, indeed. I will forward the question from you, Michaela, later on, how big the bazaar is. Maybe we can also ask Ugur once he comes back to maybe go out and go to those food stalls, because I'm really interested in what kind of food they will, well, provide there. Talking about food, what is your favorite Turkish dish? If you have to pick one, I really like doner myself, but I think we had a live stream once with another host, Aysegul, who made baklava, which also sounds really good. It also tastes really good. So I'm wondering, what is your favorite Turkish dish? And if you could let that know in the chat, then maybe we can ask Ugur later in the live stream if he could maybe visit a shop that maybe sells it as well, or has any recommendations regarding that. Let's see. We might be able to go back to Ugur again in a few moments. I see he's walking. Yes, I can hear you indeed.
Can you hear
We
me,
can also
Ben?
see you. I see you're outside right now, and I think the connection is a bit
Yeah.
better here.
Again, I step outside of one of the gates. I will step back inside, but right by this gate, actually, is one of those doner places that I've been those. That's the more conventional, common way nowadays. And one important, and here's the chef over here, Mr. Sharafettin. One important thing to look for when you're going for doner kebab is the layering of the meat. When you look at it, you have to see that layering piece by piece, rather than the ground meat that is built into a solid block. If it looks all smooth on the surface, that's cheap quality ground meat, whereas the better and the original should be from the layers of the meat stacked on top of each other, where you can see on this one with the bits of fat in between. So that's a good trick to differentiate between the good and the bad doner. Now let's step back inside and see how it works for our reception. So, all right, this is now the Grand Bazaar. All of it.
Ugur, can you hear
Han,
me?
HA shops surrounding it. Yes, I can. Can you
I think
hear me?
it's yeah, I can hear you indeed, but I think it's better
Can you hear me, Ben?
for us to stay outside for now. Yes, I can hear you indeed, but to stay outside for now, so we can at least hear the audio
Okay.
correctly, and we can also
Okay.
maybe answer some questions
Sounds good. Sounds good.
from the chat.
Let's do that. So, where I am standing now is attached to the outside of the Grand Bazaar. It's actually part of it as well. It's connected from the inside of the bazaar. You step into through a gate, and it opens up to these courtyards with more shops surrounding it. But these are open air rather than the most of the rest of the Grand Bazaar being a covered market. And what we have here is one of the strongest businesses you can run in Turkey, which is a tea shop right here. No matter how good or the bad economy is, one thing people cannot give up is having their tea. It's something bahsettiğin tamam meşhur aktör tamam. All right, a little bit of joking with the guys over here. We start with breakfast in the morning, starting to have our tea, and throughout the rest of the day, keep having it glass after glass, and especially the shopkeepers as they wait for customers, or especially if they have a customer in the store, the very first thing they will ask you is whether you like to have a glass of tea. Turkish coffee is a lot more famous worldwide, but nowadays we consume a lot more tea than the coffee. And I will show you
what is so special about the Turkish tea or coffee.
Now, what makes the coffee special is the way of serving, the way of preparation, which involves the grounds being served inside the cup. Otherwise, the beans are never Turkish and never been actually, because Turkey is not tropical enough to grow those beans. But because of the history of it, the beans first traveling through, well, back then the Ottoman times, through Turkey into Europe, it got famous as the Turkish coffee. And whereas for the tea, again, there is nothing so special about it. It's not native to Turkey neither. It was brought over from India about a century ago. And it's plain black tea is what we drink, but we steep it quite condensedly over there. You see on the top, these top ones are full of tea leaves with the water steeped in it, and down below is just plain water that runs. Now,
And I'm not sure.
guy will a little bit.
Biraz daha dem koyabilir misin patron? O zaman biraz daha dem koyalım. Az bir şey. Alo, teşekkürler. Kaşığı alabilirsin.
Alright, the gentleman who placed the order asked for the extra strong, so he topped it with a little bit more of the condensed tea over there.
That's the main difference between, well, the main specialty about the Turkish tea and coffee is that it's way stronger than the tea or coffee that we usually know.
Exactly, both of them are way stronger than how they're consumed in the West, for sure.
Let's see, where are we heading now, Ugur?
Now, if you like to try to step back in the bazaar, we can, or I can answer any of the questions while I'm still on the outside of the bazaar.
Let me see for the questions. I'm pretty sure that we still have the food question open. I can't really find it right now, but oh yeah, something about the favorite dishes about Turkey. I asked the question when we lost your connection, Ugur, and a lot of people really liked the baklava. Is there a shop outside that provides that?
Outside of the bazaar, the best one around is one shop called Sec, S-E-C. It's spelled. So if you happen to be around in the bazaar area, ask around. The shopkeepers will eat it to you. One to in the bazaar area. In other parts of town, I can recommend you other.
Okay, that's a good one. So it's Sec, S-E-C. Thank you for that.
Exactly. Now, the part that we are looking at is a jewelry repair shop. These guys, two guys downstairs, are working together to resize the rings or to put the stones on them. And then there's also a second floor to it as well. This up there, little space again. The space is very valuable inside the Grand Bazaar, so they make use of every little nook and little hole they find. This guy up there who has to climb up with the ladder, and then he lowers down the pieces with a little box and a stick. So I guess
Every little space there is, they will make use of it in some way.
Exactly. All right, let's give it another try to walk through the bazaar.
In the meantime, I have a question, Ugur, from Miha, who mentions, how big is the bazaar in square meters or maybe number of shops?
In square meters, it's about 50,000 square meters, or more or less equivalent to 500,000 square feet of a space. In total, there are about 4,000 shops. The shops, as you can see, are pretty small, about 10 square meters for each shop. So there are about 4,000 shops. With the streets added to it, it adds up to 50,000 square meters. Quite a large space.
That's really large indeed. Yeah, wow. Didn't know it was that big.
It is, for sure. That's what makes it so famous. I think it's shop after shop, and you still wouldn't be done with 4,000 shops in there.
Yes, and I think
right,
let's
see
if we have another question coming in. No, there's no more questions. I think ONN mentions, I think when I was in Istanbul, I had Turkish coffee. Well, ONN, if it was a really strong coffee, then it probably was a Turkish coffee. Quickly checking with you, Ugur. I think we are almost able to finish this tour. Is there anything that you really would like to show us still?
Well, there's a lot more that I can and would love to show you. But it's such a large area, you'll have to bear with me for a few more hours if you're up for that.
A
Otherwise,
few more hours, then
then-
that will be a long walk for you.
that sure will be. Well, I hope this gave you a feel of the bazaar at least, and how it is. I'm passing through another narrow side alleys with another food place. You don't find the usual restaurants on the main streets with the prices of rent being higher. So you have to step into these side alleys, the narrow alleys. It might look a little intimidating at first, but it's all safe and fine. So of course, more meat. The kebab,
really
the
tasty,
popular
Ugur.
word abroad, for us is just a word for barbecue. So all these are different styles of kebabs with eggplant, tomatoes, chicken, meats, and all.
Making me hungry with this all showing all the tasty food, and I think John also really likes it because he mentions the food and drink look tasty. Thank you.
It sure is, yes. It is even better than how it looks.
Yes, I can only imagine that. Ugur, I think we're about to wrap this up. I think you're also you're a with locals host, so I think people can also find you on withlocals.com. And
Exactly.
once all the borders open, they can even maybe book a tour with you that you can walk with them through the Grand Bazaar.
That's right.
Let's hope that will be
Or
possible.
they can
soon.
just get in touch with me for any questions they might have as well.
Cool, and that I'll well, you said it yourself, but I can only refer them to the with locals to your profile. May I thank you very much, Ugur.
I thank you.
And then we had a lovely view of the Grand Bazaar. A few technical things here and there, but I think we got the feeling of walking around there. Thank you very much. And,
Thank you, Ben.
hopefully you enjoy your day over there.
You too as well.
Cool. Goodbye, Ugur.
Bye bye. Take care.
And thank you for all the viewers as well tuning in. We have Ugur. We walked around the Grand Bazaar. We had a few technical hiccups here and there, but it wasn't. I think we got the feeling of the Grand Bazaar. And if you're really interested in walking around there once yourself, feel free to look him up on withlocals.com, where you can book a tour with him or ask him any questions that are still left for you. I hope he answered your question in the live stream of today. Later today, we have another live stream coming up. That's tonight in about 6 hours from now, where we will go on a single malt Scotch whiskey tasting together with Neil from Edinburgh. So if you're a whiskey fan or want to know a bit more about whiskey, feel free to join then. Also, if you would like to see what's coming up after today, you can go to withlocals.tv. And there you can see the full schedule for this week and the upcoming few weeks. So please do that if you want. Thank you for joining in today, and hopefully see you tonight again. Goodbye.